YouTuber Extinct File encounters the ghost of the Poco Aunties in this creepy video. As the team explores the abandoned place, they spot the ghost in a doorway.
Donde dormían. No mames. No inventes, güey. Cámara 2, güey. Hola.
A little further along, they capture an unexplained sound.
No puede ser, güey. La madre.
And then another. They believe the spirit here was pregnant.
En el estómago. Quizá estaba embarazada, güey. Estabas embarazada.
They then hear wailing in the distance. It continues for minutes. After a while, the crying stops, but then starts up again. And then this happens.
No mames, güey. No mames, cámara 2. Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames.
When they enter the enclosure, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I'm convinced they truly encountered the ghost of the Poco Aunties, and if they did, they'd better hope these spirits didn't attach themselves. Steer clear of this swampland. It is home to prehistoric reptiles. Published by MD Star Beast in May of 2022, the YouTuber is wondering what this creature is. Surrounded by lily pads, a snake-like head protrudes from the swampland. It's very still but seems to be rising up out of the water. Is it an eel of some kind? Some obscure reptile? A water dragon? What is your theory? A paranormal investigator from India named Deepti Vlog and her ghost hunting crew go exploring what, in their words, is one of the most haunted places in all of Madhya Pradesh. It's a long trek through some scary woods just to get there, and they are also quite sure some creepy things will be caught on camera before the night is through. In the distance, they see a figure walking slowly off the beaten path, and then it just sort of mysteriously disappears into the darkness. All of them run much faster than the figure was moving, but when they get to where they had just had the ghost sighting, they find an empty clearing and nothing more. These residents captured an actual witch on camera hovering right in their driveway, shared by YouTuber Madisy ENT. The footage was taken at around 3 in the morning. Watch closely above the vehicle.
Baby, come on, see, baby. Babe.
The mysterious being drifts for a moment, and all you can see is its glowing eyes and wild hair, and then it does this.
Natural.
Whether this was a witch or not, I think it was important to run away. My advice to this YouTuber would be to put as much space between you and this thing as possible. Something still haunts this tunnel, and Franco from the YouTube channel Franco TV is delving deep into the belly of the beast. He sees signs that he's not the first one here.
Won't be like this for too long. There's even a handprint up there. I have to find out where the ground in 10 minutes.
But it won't be like this for too long. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get quiet.
In the tunnel, he hears something off-putting.
You just heard something there, which got me off guard.
He asks the spirits a question, and they answer via the K2 meter.
Si tú estás aquí conmigo, ¿tú puedes hacerlo otra vez? It's going. See?
When Franco turns off the lights, the spirits turn them on again.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn off all the lights. So it's gonna be really hard to see anything. Okay? Yo voy a apagar todas las luces.
As Franco leaves the tunnel, he comes across a makeshift memorial, which seems to indicate that a number of people passed away in this very place.
It is actually ridiculously scary. Especially this part here. It looks like several people died over here.
Did Franco just communicate with one of them? I have no doubt, and hopefully that communication helped them reach the other side. Morgan Adams is a popular YouTuber who doesn't ordinarily focus on paranormal contents at all. So when she recently suspected that her house was haunted, you know I had to take a look. Let's go over the evidence and see if her suspicions are correct. She claims to hear tapping and scratching on the walls, which could be an animal, but then there's whispers too. When this happens, she uses Snapchat and almost always detects a second face nearby. She has named the spirit Angie, and it seems to have become quite attached. Angie often responds to her own name.
Angie! Oh my god! Angie, you have a lot of new friends that would like to say hi. Oh my...
Though Snapchat could be mistaking the shelf behind her for a winking face, and these two objects on the wall for eyes, Angie typically lurks around the corner of the house reserved for overnight visitors, coincidentally the same area where her dog Ollie absolutely refuses to go. Even with the promise of a treat, Ollie will only allow himself to go so far before he refuses to budge. Some dogs have trouble keeping their balance on hardwood floors and can actually develop a fear of them over time. I thought that could be Ollie's deal because he puts one paw on the wood and stops at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. But at 8 minutes and 52 seconds he has no problem walking on the same type of floor, so that can't be why. I think Morgan Adams could be giving a verbal command for Ollie to sit when she says okay at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. You tell me if Ollie is doing a trick or if he senses something and is too nervous to go forward.
Come on. Okay, come on.
I don't think it's fake because then she tells him to come on and he still won't move, and when Morgan gets to the end of the hall she hears a noise and shudders. Plus Ollie isn't the only animal acting weird. Her cat will freeze at the door like someone is on the other side, and Morgan even hears knocking sometimes.
Cut it out right now. Stop!
There's never anything there, and yet the cat stares at the wall as if something has its attention.
Literally? I'm gonna freak out if you don't stop. Oh my, turret orbs, literally.
An orb of light also flies in the direction that her cat is staring. Odd indeed. Oh, and there's also this strange Snapchat photo taken in the middle of the night. It could be something photoshopped, but I see something more to it. To the left of the shadow person, I see a face on the wall, and another peeking out from behind the covers. It almost looks like the exact same from a photo taken at the mountain pass, where Angie the spirit first followed Morgan home. And if you're wondering where Angie is in the photo, check out Morgan's shoulder. The dark hair is not hers. Finally, one night, her dad lets it slip that the property was built near an old burial ground. Tell me if you think he is telling the truth here or not.
Do you think our house is haunted?
Nope.
The way he pauses and looks away makes me think he could have been trying to avoid saying anything that could make his daughter worry any more than she already has been. So is all of this real or fake? I'm 50-50 on this one, so your opinions will help me decide. Chad Beauchamra and his family are enjoying themselves on Lake Michigan when an unexplainable cloud formation leaves them breathless.
Wow, that is so wild.
The long tube-like cloud stretches on for miles, making a creepy twisting motion as it moves on. Scientists have named this a morning glory cloud because they do not have a strong grasp as to why or how it exists. The few people who have seen morning glory clouds often describe feeling incredibly small and unimportant in the moment, a feeling that stays with them for a long time. What causes this remains a mystery. This Redditor wrote, "Strange noises at night in my home in rural Ohio." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. The user explains in the description that they were woken up to these strange noises and their dog barking at them. They've had a hard time sleeping ever since. I'm not sure what to tell you, Durfee, other than maybe it's time to move out. What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. Colts fan 210 posted the creepiest doorbell camera video ever on r/paranormal Reddit with one simple question. Why does this chair start rocking, he writes, adding that his brother gets quite scared when he turns around. I don't see anyone hiding behind the chair, but it's hard to tell because there's something in front of the chair and things look blurry. Colts fan 210 has no idea why the doorbell video is compressed and pixelated. It has never looked that way before or since, only this one time. Paranormal interference from a spirit in the chair could be one reason why. Wanda Chance is riding down the road when she sees a stranger who looks out of place. He is wearing a floor-length black cloak and holds his hands in front of him, possibly making a symbol. Wanda is suspicious of him and they drive by again. I think he looks like he might just be a regular teenager, sporting a gothic clothing style and look, but Wanda notices a long and pointy ear at 1 minute and 14 seconds and questions if he is really a person at all. What do you think about this sighting? Sure, it's strange, but is this just a person with an uncommon fashion style for the area, or a visitor from somewhere far off trying their best to fit in? According to a team of ghost hunters, this house in San Pedro, California has long been haunted by poltergeists who like to open cupboards, throw plates, change television channels, and linger in certain rooms until a mother and her 2 children felt uncomfortable enough to leave. believe a lot of events happened before the ghost hunters became involved and therefore were never recorded, but it wasn't uncommon for red liquid to drip from the walls of this haunted home for no explainable reason. Here is a quick clip of this happening in real time before the team's very eyes.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinet. Nobody believes this, but it's happening. There it is.
It's already right there. It's dripping.
Eventually, the ghosts drive the mother and her children out of the home, and the ghost hunters volunteer to stay there and investigate for several months. One day, they hear 3 loud snapping noises coming from the attic and send a man named Barry to investigate. As he later recalls, something was up there waiting for them.
Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. Snap him up. What's behind your neck? I don't know. What's on my neck? These are up. Barry, get down.
Barry comes back down distraught and confused, now missing his glasses. Some kind of cord is wrapped around his neck, and he insists that something had tried to choke him upstairs in the attic. The investigation was called off not long after, out of a concern for the team's personal safety. 9 armed police officers in Seattle, Washington gear up and head to a home residence after receiving this urgent 911 call.
Yeah, my name's Flaming Bond, and I have 5 hostages in my house at the moment. I want $5,000, I'm gonna kill them all.
They cover themselves on all sides and bang on the door, ready for someone to come out at any second. Instead, this person meekly answers,
"Hello, Seattle Police. Are you else in there with you?"
Can you step out for just a second? Is anybody else inside?
She says that she is alone and has no idea what is going on, or why anyone would call 911 on her apartment. They question her for a little bit and determine she is in no danger. I have little doubt that this is yet another prank, where people will report a false emergency at someone else's address in order to get a police response. This usually happens over pointless disagreements in video games, and now that I think about it, whoever called the police appears to have given a screen name at the beginning. Listen to this part and tell me if you can understand the gamer tag they give.
Yeah, my name's Flaming Bond, Flaming Bond.
Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Polaris9114, this redditor wrote, "My dad and I saw this happening not far from our house. We saw frequent lightning strikes in the clouds, yet there is no sound from the lightning whatsoever, and I have never seen anything like this in my life." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Do you guys happen to know what this could be? 'Cause we sure as heck don't. Is Darth Sidious mad or something? We need answers, and preferably before our house gets struck with lightning.
In the comments, Shabby Kitten Rebel wrote, "Could be heat lightning," while Muram Wins wrote, "How'd it happen last night here? The sky all around looked like that for a couple hours, and suddenly a huge hailstorm hit that was super loud through the house, and the street was a little flooded, so it appears that regardless of the lack of storm noise, commenters seem to be in agreement that it's still storm related. Do you think that's the case? Let me know in the comments." How would you spend 30 minutes alone in an abandoned cartel hotel? This video, posted by Southern Afterlife Paranormal TV in January of 2020, puts Truth or Dare to the test when Josh and Todd take a half hour to themselves in the abandoned hotel at 3 a.m. The Alone Challenge saw the 2 partners split up in the highly graffitied abandoned hotel, terrifying themselves with unsettling noises and even more unsettling feelings. At 2 minutes 13 seconds, a viewer points out that it appears someone is standing in the doorway at the end of the hall. When Josh flashes his light, at around 3 minutes 48 seconds, a scary sound is heard, almost like a cabinet being shut.
I don't know what that was.
At around 5 minutes 40 seconds, Josh finds an upside down cross that's wet. He believes from the cold and dampness of the hotel. At around 14 minutes, he believes he smells fresh paint. Maybe some invisible graffiti artist is there to touch up their artwork. Most in the comments agree this place has an awful and uber creepy atmosphere. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, live people could be lurking around any corner. Don't know if I'd want to run into either in this nightmare hotel. What are these bright lights in the sky? The lights start to appear one by one.
On a 2 autres encore de nouvelles. Qu'est-ce que ça va faire? On ne sait pas. Ils sont plus proches, là.
C'est beaucoup plus à gauche. Troisième.
3, il y en a 3, tiens, regarde, c'est pas moi qui les invente. 4.
C'est en formation, ça, là.
There's no information attached to this video about where it was filmed, but the clip continues for a minute and a half without the lights changing much in position. They do start to shift a little toward the end though.
Je peux pas dire, là, moi je peux pas les grandir plus que ça, là. Mais moi je le sais que ça se rapproche parce que les lumières sont plus, on voit pas sur la vidéo, là, mais les lumières sont plus...
Ça bouge pas, je vois, avec les vents dehors.
Ouais, ça bouge pas, rien.
Are these lights on singular aircrafts, or are they arranged on one larger aircraft? They appear to me to be individual aircrafts flying in formation, or rather hovering, but apart from unidentified flying objects, I have no clue what they might be. Do you? This security guard wasn't expecting to guard the shopping mall against evil spirits. Published by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in April of 2019, this security footage was captured at Galerías La Paz in Mexico. The Galerías has a dark history of animal and human sacrifices. It's reputed to be haunted by everything from spectral children to the Lady in White. These security guards witnessed the latter. In the video, you can see the lady walking down the mall's corridor. A security guard passes right by her but doesn't seem to notice her at all. The lady appears solid but then vanishes into thin air. The uploader writes, he didn't notice anything unusual, but it was only when he finished his rounds and was back in the surveillance room that his partner asked if he had seen the woman in white. The security guard said that he passed no one, but when they watched the CCTV footage back, they couldn't deny it. Is it La Llorona? If so, this guard is lucky he didn't drown. On January 8th, 2005, a professional diver named David Shaw was on an extraction mission to recover a missing individual named Dion Dreyer. David, having won numerous diving records in his career, many of them going great depths into caves, was confident in his abilities to locate this person. He was also with a team to help ensure his further safety. They run a line down the cave to help themselves move along and keep from straying too far and getting lost. There's very little light down here. The line leads to Dion. At 3 minutes, they pass over this deflated dolphin that was on Dion's vessel as a joke. Now it's on the bottom of the sea cave floor. He is walking along the bottom and soon becomes hopelessly tangled in the line. He pulls and pulls, hoping to find a good place to cut, but his movements become slower as his oxygen runs out.
Okay, there he goes, he's moving on again. Now, breathing very hard.
I won't show the end, but sadly he did not make it out of the cave and passed in the darkness next to Dion. Let's never forget his valiant final dive and take a moment to recognize his bravery. It was his 333rd dive. A store security cam in Malaysia has caught a ghost on tape, a strange figure that can teleport at will, and it's got the owners freaking out. I would be freaking out too. 55 seconds is when you can see there's nobody in these clothes. No chest, no head, no hands. Just clothes forming the outline of a person who isn't there. Then at 1 minute and 30 seconds, it sprouts a freaky gray featureless face. And did you see that even scarier, more mysterious figure behind her? 1 minute and 26 seconds is when a much taller shadow figure with a red face appears behind her and then mysteriously goes away. This could be a possession, a ghost, or a demon sighting, or even a hostile takeover from another planet, but it could also simply be video editing. Oh, and of course, this creepy encounter happened at 3:14 in the morning, just 14 minutes shy of 3 a.m., a time when the supernatural world is said to fully open with our own A student needs to leave during the middle of a hailstorm, so without thinking they grab the first thing they can find, which happens to be an aluminum foil pan, and charge out into the elements. Marissa follows behind another student to see what happens next, but they don't even get around the corner before they find themselves in just as much danger. Lightning strikes close enough to shut the power off and makes some random people inside scream for their lives. Somehow the bolt of lightning misses the student's metal-covered head and they are okay, but still, I bet running out of there made it strike much closer to them than it would have otherwise. Moral of the story? I hope everyone has learned to stay safe in their room anytime it's like this outside. Bugs are awful on their own, but swarms of them, what a nightmare. Published to YouTube in June of 2018, Phelan Fairchild writes that mayflies swarm in from the lake every year and have to be snowplowed off roads and walkways. The video shows Fairchild's front desk absolutely littered with the bugs. At first you think they're a pile of fall leaves or other debris, but upon closer inspection, you can see, as Fairchild points out, hundreds of thousands of bugs all over the place. They're on the deck floor, on the front door, on the window, and on the entire exterior of this poor woman's house. Fairchild notes that the spiders are having a heyday with this. You can't look away from this creepy sight. Fairchild says that it stinks and will be hard to clean up. It's not noted where she lives, but mayflies do appear near fresh water and are signs of a healthy water ecosystem. Swarms like this one can last for up to a month. Seems like a summer holiday abroad is in order. You are probably asking yourself what could possibly be scary about ice. Well, it's not so much about ice itself, but rather what's growing around the area that forms the cubes and pushes them out. A thick layer of yellow filth has taken over this restaurant ice machine, which is somehow still in service and making ice for customers. I'm not even sure what this specific part of the machine is used for, but I know I regret watching it. The yellow substance has crusted into black mold along the corners. Again, I honestly can't believe this video was recorded in a restaurant that was still open. And that's just what this ice machine looks like on the outside. What's growing inside is even worse. Take a look at this and tell me if you would want this floating anywhere near your cold drink. You'd think the cubes would be absolutely disgusting and easy to spot, but look at this ice. You'd never realize there was much of a problem, or where it really came from. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary 306, this short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? What is this creature? Please, writes a YouTuber named Terriana, to which I have but one question in return. Why are you still in front of it? I would have been long gone. Seriously though, it looks like some kind of toxic caterpillar, except here's the thing. This video was caught on camera on a boat while out at sea. I think we can all agree that the creature is covered in fur, something I've never seen on any deep sea creature caught on tape before, and it's really bizarre. This video was posted in 2007 and I couldn't find anything else like it, so I'm not sure what this mysterious deep sea creature is. I think it's laying on its side and normally crawls along the lighter colored bottom portion. Hopefully those long protrusions up and down its body are hairs and not sharp quills. A YouTuber named Shannon Griffin recorded this short scene as part of an amateur film he was working on. One of his friends, Rachel, goes into the alley and the scene ends. It seems simple enough, but look at the bottom left for a weird surprise. This swaying shadow is not supposed to be part of the shot. Later, when Shannon was editing the footage, he was terrified by the strange discovery because nobody was standing off camera there. It's not a tree in the wind because these plants in the foreground don't move at all, while this shadow figure sways wildly. The only explanation I have, assuming that they are telling the truth to begin with, is maybe some nosy neighbor was watching them from a window and cast their shadow on the sidewalk below, but the way the shadow moves is so odd that I don't think this is it at all, so maybe it was paranormal. YouTuber named Tracy is recording a video at the Hingham Castle in England while on vacation with her husband. The voices and footsteps of other visitors easily carry throughout the castle, but it's just good acoustics, and they are not nearly as close as they sound. Anyway, look what happens while Tracy is standing motionless next to her husband in a large room all by themselves.
Sure, but I think I just saw a shadow walk across the wall.
A shadow clearly passes across the wall in front of them, but as Tracy pans the room, you can see that no one else is present. None of the windows or entrances completely line up, yet the shadow looks very human in nature and appears to be coming from directly behind them. This doll is reputed to make you crazy, and Dima is spending 3 days alone with it. Let's see what happens. First, Dima introduces viewers to the doll.
Время. Как мне сказали, чтобы освободить ее, надо, соответственно, разбить стекло.
It doesn't take long for things to unravel. At around 3 a.m. this happens. That sounded like a footstep. For some reason, Dima decides to visit the doll, and he soon regrets it.
Stop. Stop.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Так, мать, давай-ка ты... А, прям на меня смотрит, блядь, я весь в мурашках.
Those eyes look real. Are they? Soon Dima loses his pulse.
Что происходит? Что происходит, блядь? Блядь, что происходит? Ой, что случилось? Почему у меня пульс 0?
Okay, that was just an accident, but is this?
Что это такое, нахуй? Что это такое? Что это такое? Что это такое?
What are these unexplained noises? And this one.
Что за звук?
As the doll is taken over Dima's bed, its presence moves things in his room. Later, he discovers the doll's little shoe on the floor.
Ребята, это же ее вышло.
How did it end up there? Has she been wandering around while he sleeps? One of the security cameras then moves on its own. Was it just positioned poorly, or is this the possessed doll's work as well? I think it probably is the maleficent spirit at play. This doll is 100% possessed, and in my opinion, its demon is now on the loose in Dima's house. He shouldn't have ever let her in. Do you believe in poltergeists? What if you're confronted with video proof YouTuber Ethan Thurrock posted poltergeist activity happening in his office across 3 videos. In the first video, the office door closes on its own. Some paper towel moves, along with a computer cable followed by a tape dispenser on the desk. Then the computer monitor starts to blink on and off. The timestamp reads 6/9/2015. In the second video in the same room, a toy car moves across the desk to the very edge. The timestamp reads 6/10/2015. It's hard to tell if the last video is in the same room, as it's from a different camera and perspective, but it's filming while someone is in the office. As she's working on her computer, her coffee mug suddenly moves abruptly, spilling some coffee on her desk right next to her electronics. She jumps up to move everything out of the way. If you weren't a believer before, you'd be hard to explain this series of events. The team from Extinct File believes they were confronted by a demon who is pretending to be a priest. As they're first exploring the haunted place, they get an eerie vibe right away. When they ask the spirit what to do, it provides a resounding answer.
Dígame lo que quiera decirme.
As he prays and then starts to hear noises, he realizes something else is there. Later, they're explaining what happened when they hear the noise again.
Mira a la derecha. Eso fue aquí. Eso fue aquí, güey. Espérate, no, quédate aquí conmigo, güey.
The demon doesn't let up. Then, when they're about to leave, this happens.
Oh, mi luz se me está queriendo apagar. ¿Qué? ¿Qué pasó? No mames, cámara 2. Está sangrando, güey. A ver, ¿qué?
What caused this crew's member's nosebleed? I'd say it's all too obvious. It was definitely that grunting demon, and who knows if it's finished with them. Vorkuta was a coal mining settlement during the Soviet era. It has since become a semi-deserted wasteland. Published by Vagabond, this adventure seeker went to check out the ghost town at the end of the world.
Here is roughly more than 200 people.
On the background of such amount of abandoned buildings, an active mine
looks surrealist.
Traveling there by train, the only accessible means of transport to the area, he encounters the first steam engine that ever appeared in the area in 1944. The once thriving city was served by 13 coal mines in its heyday, where workers received a good salary and twice the pay they might back home due to the added northern coefficient pay. Directly across from clean, bright offices are empty, derelict buildings. Other empty structures are topped with massive piles of snow. Atop an enormous 9-story building is a phrase that translates to "Glory to the conquerors of Arctic territories." Vagabond also takes in the coal miners' quarters, located on the Vorkuta River embankment. Would you be able to live in this half-abandoned Arctic town? You'd better learn to love the cold. This alleged ghost was caught on video, rummaging around a property of an arcade in Dallas. The phantom blob glides over the grass and quickly fits through an entranceway. It's pretty convincing to me. Here's a second video of it. This looks like a cheaper camera, but it picks up the same shape. The only possible explanation I have besides the paranormal is maybe an insect is crawling across the lens. We've all done it, almost choked on something while distracted. But what should you do if you find yourself in this position while you're alone? This CCTV footage shows how a guy almost passed away while prepping a restaurant to open. The guy is doing his rounds, wiping down tables and getting everything in order, when suddenly he slows down, hitting his chest a couple times. It's clear something is going wrong, but he doesn't seem too concerned yet. He attempts to continue with his tasks for a moment, but then realizes this is serious. Walking to the middle of the floor, he bends to touch his knees and appears to be trying to stay calm. As he continues to pound his chest and bend over, trying to eject the piece of gum that's lodged in his throat, he starts to panic. He cannot breathe. He attempts to shout for help, but nothing comes out. While panicking more and more and getting increasingly unsteady from lack of air, he attempts to give himself the Heimlich with his hands. Still nothing. He then positions a chair to give him the Heimlich, bending over it and trying to fall the right way. Having already gone a couple minutes without breathing, he does this a few times. No luck. It's starting to look like a lost cause, but at the last second, the gum ejects from his throat. He is able to stand up again and looks incredibly relieved, as he should. He nearly passed away from a piece of gum. If you hear this sound, run for cover. Rays of light shine upward in this video, published to Paranormal World in December of 2020. But that's not the only oddity in this clip. Turn the sound on full volume and you'll be blasted into the midst of a prehistoric jungle. The light then turns into what looks to be a winged figure, and the sound becomes more symphonic. The creature forms a sphere before its wings reappear, perhaps preparing for takeoff. The man filming takes this as his cue to leave, but judging with a creature like this, he can run but he can't hide. These explorers are checking out a haunted church in Britain called St. Botolph's Church, which is said to be guarded by the spirit of a passed away monk. The weather is fine at first, but within a minute of stepping out of the car, it becomes cloudy and gray, as if to signify they do not belong here. Here at 2 minutes and 34 seconds, you can see everyone standing outside as they peruse the cemetery, and it isn't until 2 minutes and 47 seconds that they go inside. With this in mind, tell me how they record this shadow figure walk across the church at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, a full 20 seconds before any of them enter. This creepy abandoned house is one of the most haunted places in the UK, and you're about to find out why. YouTube team The Ouija Brothers investigate. As they approach the home, they think someone is there.
Thought I seen something up in the top window then.
You might have.
Oh god.
Because the door's locked.
So, that's it. I honestly thought I seen something up in the window.
They continue inside, and Carl thinks he sees something.
Whoa! What? Car?
No.
Really?
Run.
It just says run on mine.
That message is chilling. In another hallway, they hear two distinct taps.
Cough.
They hear another unexplained noise next.
You hear that?
I didn't.
It's okay.
In your room?
Just in front of me, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't make a noise. I'll check back on that.
And another.
Oh, sorry. Is that you?
You were me. It sounded like something coming from a cupboard.
It was like, or?
I'm not sure if any of this was actual proof that the place is haunted, but I do think these mysterious sounds, coupled with what the guys saw here, may warrant further investigation. A few days ago, strange sounds started coming from an old shower stall in this house that Alejandro has not used in years. He wasn't sure if it was rats or something, so he went up there with a camera, and this scary sighting is what's been caught on video. "20 seconds after showing us nothing was in the shower, this ghostly figure presses against the glass, flies upwards and disappears. This almost has to be CGI because there are absolutely no editing cuts, and the way they fade away doesn't look like somebody simply stepping away from the glass. He reinvestigates and the shower is just as empty as before. An instructor records himself and his students for a teacher evaluation. He's giving a lecture about safety when some strange activities start to happen.
Out and about. What dangers might we bump into? Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. That's one thing. Someone give me another one then.
Strangers?
Strangers.
I just moved on his home.
Right. What we're going to do, we need to... I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute.
By now, the class is in mild shock as they awkwardly line up and leave. According to the description of this video, later on they would say that they felt a strange static electricity in the air and a tingling sensation in their faces. After they leave, the possible haunting seems to continue for quite some time. Finally, the camera is knocked to the ground by an unseen force and the video ends. This poltergeist is not at all timid. Published by JCG Dragon in August of 2019. This scary video was filmed in a haunted home in Argentina. The video shows a bedroom door slamming as hard as it can. The cameraman approaches the door, opens it, and in the opposite room, captures objects being thrown on the floor. Assumedly by the same poltergeist, the cameraman enters the room crying in fear. When he turns the corner, there is nothing there, but slamming is heard again.
Ay, a la concha de la lora.
And he turns to find the door from the other room has slammed shut again. And what's worse, the power goes out. It sounds like the camera is dropped to the floor.
Ay, no. Ay, no.
What havoc will now ensue in the darkness? As the video ends there, it's left up to our imaginations, but judging from how these events are playing out, I can't think it's anything good. When you visit a place that's notoriously haunted, don't expect to be disappointed. Posted to YouTube by Corndictive, the uploader writes of this clip, "Watch the very top window of the house. That flash didn't happen when we were taping this, and none of us know what it is. There were no cars out when this happened. The top window in question is that of the Glenmore Mansion. This clip necessitates a little background on this spooky place. As it turns out, many of the historical sites of Jefferson County, Tennessee are crazy haunted. Glenmore Mansion was built in 1799. It belonged to a family for a century and was later bought up by Mr. Milton Preston Jarnigan, who named the house after his first son who passed away as an infant. The home was in the Jarnigan family for a further century. Over the course of more than 2 centuries, passing in this old home were bound to occur, resulting in the haunting of these hallowed grounds. According to some legends, the house is like an Escher drawing in that the exterior windows are more in number than the interior windows. Others also suggest the home's height changes, although some say the mega mansion has 15 rooms across 5 stories, with other sites reporting there are 27 rooms. When the mansion falls dark, visitors claim there's a presence roaming around the home, But don't worry, the presence is benevolent. Some believe it to be the ghost of a local historian, Thomas Roach. When alive, Roach claimed that if ever a ghost was found there, it would be him. But one of the creepiest sightings happened outside the mansion altogether. A young girl is often seen walking along the estate's road at night in the darkness. From unexplained sounds to shadows in the mirrors, the mansion has had its fair share of ghastly ghosts. Tours of the home are routine, but once the lights are out and the house has been abandoned for the night, some say a light turns on in the attic. This Victorian gem of a house seems so perfectly cookie cutter that it's the perfect place for a haunting, and the unsettling nature of the home is confirmed by this video. The crew focuses in on an upstairs window where they see lights or a flash of white and something moving inside. Can you spot it? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you probably wouldn't want to be in Glenmore Mansion when the lights turned on. This video experiment proves something which many governments do not want the general public to know. Turning objects invisible is actually way easier than you would think. Look what happens when this YouTuber lowers a basic glass test tube into vegetable oil.
But if I actually put it in far enough that the entire test tube is submerged, it vanishes almost completely.
This simple experiment proves that certain liquids can actually bend light around an object to render it invisible. The key is pairing the right reflective properties with the right objects. This basic scientific principle is what governments are currently experimenting with to create cloaking devices for humans and even aircrafts one day, if they haven't done so already. To further prove their point, this YouTuber pulls out a second test tube that's been hidden in the center of the glass the whole time. Let me know if you think this experiment really does have any military potential, or if this whole idea is too far-fetched to have any practical use. A YouTuber named Seg goes into the woods and finds an old rotten house. He and his friends feel something watching them nearby and they both run away. As they are checking out the raw video a few minutes later to see what it was, this strange orange circle pays them a visit and hangs around the corner of the shot.
Wait, did I get it? How would you go to your footage back?
To be perfectly honest, this looks like it is almost definitely the cameraman's thumb, but Seg says the orange light is way too bright to be anything but the supernatural. He says that this is the only source of light, and therefore something behind the light should not be brighter than everything else in the shot. I'm not sure if I buy this theory, so I wanted to run it by you. Is this a ghostly presence, or a ghost investigator's thumb? While visiting a friend at a high school, these girls spotted strange flickering light inside, writing that it was flashing in a pattern. Posted by Babitz Manda to the Ghosts subreddit. The redditor notes that this is the boys and the girls' locker rooms. Only the boys was acting up earlier, and now they're both flickering. Some suggest it's a rave, others think it may just be faulty wiring, or the fire alarm being tested. But MTN-Do891 finds something else particularly unsettling. He writes, "Why do the locker rooms have windows so large and close to the ground? That's what I find creepy." That's a good point, so maybe their story is not what's actually going on here. Nevertheless, this either had to be a major electrical malfunction, or else the work of something paranormal. I just wish there was more video evidence so we could decide for sure. This huge wall of security monitors shows that everything in this building is silent, and still except for a single sign going haywire. I've seen signs twisting around from the air conditioning before, but this looks a little different. The back and forth swaying seems very deliberate, almost as if an invisible force is hanging off of it. I don't have much more information about this video, aside from it taking place somewhere in Singapore. Let me know what you think of it. Jade of YouTube channel Ghost Club Paranormal spends a night alone in the most haunted room of the Glen Tavern Inn. Cue all the spooky stuff. As Jade is describing the spirits here, the lights flicker off.
He's the one that's not supposed to be very nice. I don't know why the light just went out.
She captures some energies via the K2 meter. She starts to hear noises.
When I get spikes on the K2 meter. Okay, now I'm hearing noises just all around the room.
And one even seems to happen in response to her request. The spirit appears to turn the flashlight on.
Alright guys, same thing. I have turned this flashlight off, and if any spirits want to turn it on by the time I get back, you can be my guest. I'm gonna leave now. Oh, okay. Oh my again, it was like...
Then a cowboy responds to Jade's questions.
Are there any cowboys with me in this room right now? Can you make a knocking noise? If there's any
And when she continues her communication with the spirit, it says hello.
This is so weird. Like, I feel like somebody keeps pulling on my tassel.
I've seen enough here to be certain that Glen Tavern Inn is haunted, and I think Jade has a finger on the pulse of the spirit. Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. Uncharted Travel is the name of a ghost hunting YouTube channel who goes exploring an abandoned children's mental asylum at 3 a.m. with over 100 years of terrifying history involving cases of neglect and mistreatment. This derelict mental asylum is supposed to be one of the scariest and most haunted places in Baltimore. Almost immediately, the ghost hunters think they hear movement coming from upstairs, weird noises that I can just barely hear, kind of like children's footsteps.
They're upstairs. There's somebody walking upstairs.
The creepy sounds are followed by much scarier noises. They go exploring the second floor of the not-so-abandoned but almost certainly haunted children's mental asylum in search of the scary noises, and that's when their paranormal investigation uncovers a mysterious brick wall sectioning off a part of the asylum with a child-sized hole in it. It's a creepy moment for sure, and not exactly something you would expect to find at 3 a.m. And maybe it's just me, but this looks like it might be a hidden room with bars behind the brick wall. Across from a children's playroom with two creepy dolls is a holding room with weird drawings on the wall, and much higher up, two round holes, perhaps marking where a caretaker lost their temper. They go exploring the rest of the rooms and start to retrace their steps to see if they missed anything. And that's when one of the ghost hunters has a scary moment and comes running back to the group.
No. The door just opened by itself. No. Which one? That door just opened by itself.
I do believe this part, and I'll tell you why. It's because there's an apparition behind them that I bet you didn't even see. As he runs downstairs screaming about a ghost opening the door, a scary ghost face is in the window, eyes and all. It appears again at 28 minutes and 26 seconds, a stretched out ghost face in the window, or perhaps it's their flashlight shining into the dirty glass. I'm not sure which. All I know is a half a minute later, all remnants of this bizarre ghost face in the window are completely gone. So I think it could have been a paranormal ghost sighting after all. Also, when they go upstairs to test the door that the ghost allegedly opens, they get more paranormal evidence on their equipment.
Yeah, you're getting big readings over here, Dan. I wonder why.
The beeping of their equipment turns into a solid note when they get within close proximity to the door. Notice how this solid note of paranormal evidence happens again when he actually opens the door.
Dan, those dolls are in a completely different place from when we last saw them.
Coincidentally, this is the same door leading into the children's playroom, and unless the ghost hunters repositioned them, at least one of the two creepy dolls moved by itself since the last time they were in here. So yeah, don't go exploring this abandoned mental asylum at 3 a.m. because apparently you'll see some truly weird things. A custodian calmly takes the elevator down to his workplace destination. Moments after he gets off, something appears to briefly dance overhead in the area where he was just standing. It could just be the blurry close-up image of a bug running across the camera lens, but it's weird how the round black mass slowly wanders over to where the buttons are located, almost like a real passenger would. It then somehow seems to blend in with the shadows against the door, which makes me think that this may not be an insect after all. Look at this part and tell me what you see going on here. After a while, things calm down, and nothing moves across the screen again for another full minute before the video ends, leaving me with the impression that this was a quick paranormal incident. This one took me a few tries before I could see what they were talking about. Watch the shoulder lane on the left, and soon you'll see the shadowy outline of a mysterious figure.
Was that the first day?
I have little doubt that this video is real and not edited, so the question becomes whether or not this was an actual spirit. Notice how the figure is devoid of all features, a strong sign of the paranormal, and maybe it's just because they are passing by at a high rate of speed, but I can almost see right through them. The entire lower half of their body is practically invisible. Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is exploring this scary house with ghosts, and he's in for a real boo. While searching what looks like a storage area of the home, he falls to the ground. In fact, it looks like he breaks clean through the ground, and he does. The disturbance is captured from another room. A mysterious anomaly is seen in that same storage room. And that anomaly may be getting aggressive with him. But nothing is there, or so it seems. Just as he's decided to leave, he's confronted by the ghost again.
Yes.
One actually might think it's an earthquake, if not for the terrifying knowledge that this place is haunted. Later, he hears a whole lot of ruckus again and goes to investigate, when, behind him, there's a growl. What sort of beast is in here with Dennis? I don't think that's a ghost. Sounds more like a demon to me. Being a pilot can seem like a glamorous job, but sometimes it's downright terrifying. YouTuber Don MCL1 published this video in October of 2006. The clip shows a jet taking off from a runway, but soon sirens start sounding off, while the aircraft's nose points skyward.
Oh, shit. Okay, we've got NL. T6NL.
Lots of talk back and forth over the radio is indecipherable. The nose then pans sideways, clearly indicating the aircraft is out of control. Over the radio, you can hear someone mention engine failure.
T6NL. All ready. Okay.
right before someone says eject, eject, eject as the nose of the plane turns downward.
Eject, eject, eject. Liking that to copy your breakout to the north.
Shortly after, the plane nosedives and the footage scrambles. While the description of this video doesn't reveal much about the incident, Kiwi Jet Pilot in the comments section appears to be quite knowledgeable about what happened here. First off, he clears up the description of the plane, saying it's not an F-16 but a Canadian-flown British-built BAE Hawk. He states that this occurred in May of 2004 in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, during a UK Royal Air Force crew training mission, but this video shows they survived by the skin of their teeth, a little too close for comfort. A strange creature was spotted in the darkness of this homeowner's backyard, shared by TikToker Canadian Babe Forever. At first, you can only hear it. The noise is subtle but then grows louder. It sounds like something on the brink of passing away. Then it gives one last wailing rattle, and you can see something peek over the fence. What was that thing? Those hiding in the comments have their theories. I agree with Jose. This has Skinwalker written all over it. If you suffer from arachnophobia, you definitely would want to keep your lights on for this one. What at first looks like your ordinary everyday bramble of twigs amidst some rocks is not what it seems. With a stick, Connor Long, the video's creator, disturbs the nest, the many legs of which start to move. Published in July of 2011, Long came upon this daddy longlegs nest near Santa Barbara in Los Padres National Forest. Long notes that research into this clustering behavior came up short, as it isn't understood why they do this, whether it's for mating or moisture conservation during the hot summer months or some other reason. Whatever the basis for this behavior, one thing's for sure, don't step on this bramble, or you may just pass away of fear. If you've heard wailing in an abandoned building, would you investigate? Published in April of 2021, these adventurers soon find they're not alone after all. While in a stairwell, they hear a sound upstairs and chase it down. They find no one in the hallway, but do find this strange barrier blocking their path. They ignore it and continue forward. After searching for a time, someone comes racing out of one of the rooms. They chase the figure, but when they get up the next flight of stairs, he has disappeared. After searching this floor for a while to no avail, they hear this voice. Where is it coming from? And whose is it? Though they attempt to chase it down, they never do find out. So I guess for now, it will remain a mystery. A YouTube channel called 3/Amir AMR searches for what his video title roughly translates into English as the most dangerous magician. Though its glowing eyes make it look less human and more like a jinn, the Arabic word for demons and spirits. The way the eyes come into focus at 1 minute and 4 seconds looks pretty good, but I think it might be special effects because the overall resolution seems to briefly drop. White and red eyes look at him from outside of a window, and there's a really good look at them here at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But these eyes look like they could be any of the city lights shown here when he goes outside. He does see the djinn standing outside of a window, eyes glowing white as ever. It disappears, then he sees either the same creature or possibly another one in the building directly behind him. Now feeling surrounded, he turns and flees this entire area, but not before catching glowing glowing eyes looking at him from the window within. Reddit user Pentax25 says that his dad captured something rather unnerving on his porch camera late at night on a breezy April evening. The OP says he has no idea what exactly was captured and is in need of second opinions. Take a look at this piece of footage and make sure your volume is up relatively high. That's chilling. I just wasn't expecting that scream there. That was absolutely terrifying. Really caught me off guard. Especially just that one lone scream in the middle of the night. And apparently something else is also captured here. Right there, just those very faint whispers. So that's just absolutely bizarre, this whole video between that one scream, and I know the usual explanation when it comes to these screams is, oh, it's like a fox or some sort of animal. What really I think makes this video terrifying is that that can't be the case, because there's also these very distinct whispers heard. But obviously that scream is by far just the scariest part of this video. Let's play that back one more time. It's absolutely terrifying. And there are the whispers. The video goes on for about another full minute after the last sound can be heard, but sadly, or luckily depending on how you look at it, no other sounds can be heard afterward. Opinions on what was making these terrifying noises are divided, with some saying that it could just be something simple like a fox roaming around late at night through the neighborhood or some other animal. But as you can expect, others are thinking that it could be that of a skinwalker, a creature in Navajo folklore that is said to be a dangerous witch that has the distinct ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. Looking at this video footage, that description seems eerily accurate. While wandering through a forest in Indonesia, these guys encounter a fearsome spirit. First, you hear a faint sound in the background. Then, after a lot of wandering through the darkness, you finally see the creature. It gives chase, and after escaping, they later encounter the thing again. I mean, this thing looks like a school teacher with a shawl wrapped around her head. Not super scary. Then again, encountering this in a forest? That would be very scary. Claire Julian has a guest over when they both notice her paper dragon wall ornament is swaying slightly. Zoom in and you'll see the very bottom swings back and forth, hardly noticeable unless you really were looking. There's no draft and the air conditioner is not on. They aren't sure what to make of it, so Claire half-jokingly challenges the ghosts to do better, which I'm not so sure was a good idea.
You have to do better than that. Thank you.
I was thinking that this movement could have been the minute hand of the clock hanging behind it, but Claire says that this clock doesn't work anymore, and now that I think about it, I didn't hear any ticking. Therefore, I think Claire probably has a poltergeist in her home, one that she should stop challenging. A YouTuber called Wet Tent catches a poltergeist in action in his home, as evidenced by this slamming door. He shows that there is nobody on the other side, and then waits for it to happen again. It's creepy until you see his window is open, so it could be a breeze. And here at 13 seconds, you can see a tag on his covers move in the wind. I just wanted to show this video because I think that it could help explain other videos with slamming doors. Still, I would not totally discount this video. Wet tent should make a new one with the window closed and see if it still happens. A man is holding very still with his arm out at an odd angle. That's because he doesn't want to attract the wrath of this dangerous little fellow who somehow slithered into a scary situation. He is helpless as his friend carefully pinches his sleeve to determine where the snake is. He makes a cutting motion with his free hand to tell his friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room, so they need to cut more. By now, the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, 2 pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these 2 legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkalooz recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? And being the spirit of a child, still stuck in the world, why are you there? What do you do in the interim? Clearly, the answer is to play around with the living. Originally posted to TikTok by Dries Perry, a Redditor wonders what Reddit thinks of these TikToks. Let's take a look. In the first clip, Perry says he's convinced that this room in his home is haunted. After shutting the door so it doesn't scare his daughter, he speaks directly to the ghost, inviting him to reveal his presence in some way. At first, the ghost is hesitant, but soon after, a can on the table flips over onto its side. After returning to the room, he asks the spirit to move something else. A toy car begins to slowly roll across the same tabletop. Seems like someone is ready to play. Redditor Hollow Planet writes, "This is exactly what the poltergeist I had was like." During round 2 of attempting to communicate with the spirit in the toy room, Perry decides to try and play too, since many of his commenters on TikTok were theorizing that it was a child ghost. After asking the child ghost to play, a ball is tossed his way from a nearby shelf. He shows the camera up close that there are no strings attached to the wiffle ball that rolls to stop at his feet. He asks the child ghost to knock 3 times if he's nice. After you hear 3 clear knocks, Perry says he's done.
Could you knock 3 times if you're a nice ghost? I don't know. Okay, guys. Yep, I'm done.
Already? The kid just wants to toss a ball. Redditor ZRyan3564 writes that he's jealous the ghost is so vocal. It seems he or she wants you to accept it, so it's doing everything you ask. Ryan says, would you accept this playful ghost, or would you lock up this room and throw away the— Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.